All right, looks like we're live. Well, welcome everyone to this event. My name is Michael Carpedian and I am your host, and I am the Great Global Cleanup Coordinator for earthday.org. And I am really excited to share with you guys here. We have a lot of leaders of the global cleanup community, and we are here to discuss World Cleanup Day and how to continue that momentum forward from this event. Now, World Cleanup Day this year was on September 17th, and we saw the world come together, and we had millions of volunteers from all across the world come together to fight for a waste-free world and to clean up their own communities. Still, we are facing a huge problem with plastic pollution in our world and in our oceans, and it is directly affecting our environment and our health. But that is why I'm so excited to introduce all of our amazing panelists here and continue this conversation on how we can continue pushing forward for a waste-free world. So first and foremost, I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves. And I want to start with Heidi out of Estonia. Would you please introduce yourself?
Thank you so much for the invitation. Yes, I'm from Estonia, where this movement of World Cleanup Day also started. And indeed, we have our 5th edition of this World Cleanup Day this year. And for that, we established a worldwide network already 6-7 years back. And we do believe that this kind of transforming societies will start from individual level, and therefore it's really important to have really strong leaders and really strong network around the world, and also to build up very strong alliances, also to engage a lot of partners and different kind of big organizations and governments into cross-sectoral cooperation. Then we can achieve the change. I do believe in it. And I'm also really grateful for all the organizations, but also to Earth Day, to being part of this journey of the World Cleanup Day, which is the biggest one-day event in the world, by engaging so many big billions on the planet. And we're still calculating this year the numbers because the World Cleanup Day just was a few weeks back. But I believe that our biggest kind of numbers have been 191 countries from last year. And also we have engaged 21.4 million people before the COVID in one day. Wow. But yes, this is what we are doing.
That is amazing, Heidi. And I'm going to come back to you because I want to hear a little bit more about your experience leading Let's Do a World. But we're going to jump over to Bill and Steve, who run National Cleanup Day. Can you guys introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about National Cleanup Day?
I'm Bill.
And I'm Steve.
And we're from National Cleanup Day, which is also part
in the
of
United States.
In the United States, the United States
country leader.
Country leaders of World Cleanup Day. That's hard to get out. Yeah.
And so World Cleanup Day and what we're doing is all about community.
Yes.
So it's about, not only cleaning up all the plastic and litter and all the things that have happened, but it's all about strengthening communities and bringing people together for something this big.
Yes, and people like to belong to something large like World Cleanup Day because it is the whole world doing it.
But it's all about local.
How long did it take me to beat that into your head?
A long time.
A long time.
Yes.
So
that's great to hear. And I think that's a really important point you brought up about being part of, something bigger than yourselves. But as we all know, a lot of that work comes from, local organizations and the hands and feet on the ground. So I wanted to, Alexandra, would you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you do?
Perfect. Hi, I'm Alexandra. I'm from the Canary Islands. I am a marine science graduate, and since the university, I learned a lot about the pollution problem and try to raise awareness in my area. So I am also building community with all the local organizations from the 8 islands that we are from the archipelago. And I'm so proud of knowing you or meeting you guys, because that means that we are not alone in this fight.
Yeah, and I think it's huge to be able to kind of come together as a larger group. And speaking of that, Henry, would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and the movement you've created on TikTok?
Sure. Yes. So my name is Henry, and on social media I go by Trash Boy. And almost every day I go out and I clean up some amount of trash, and I'll make a little video about it. And the kind of the whole goal of my channel is it's of course to spread awareness about plastic pollution and try to inspire individuals to like take those steps to help their communities, but also using social media to connect people from all around the world to do these activities that help the environment. And I created a goal of cleaning up 500,000 pieces of trash from all around the world. And I get my followers from wherever they are, anywhere in the world. Anyone can help and join the challenge. And it's really amazing to see the power of social media and how it can bring people together to help with these problems and inspire people to do those little actions that help the environment. So that's kind of what I'm doing with my channel now. So
That's awesome. Paul, why don't you introduce yourself as well? And then also, I heard that you recently have gotten second place in the World Plogging Championships. Can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Hi everyone. It's good to see everyone here. I'm kind of like the old Instagram version of Trash Boy. So I sort of focus predominantly on Instagram. I'm a pure plogger. So every time I go running, I will pick up trash, or every time I do any sporting activity, I'll do it. And I started back 11 years ago, so before plogging was even a word. So that's when I started, just with a single piece of trash like everyone else. And then it grew up, and then it became something I do every day. And like others will mention, picking up a piece of trash will have an impact. But if you can get other people to join in, then the impact is greater. So just like Trash Boy and the others here, I use social platforms to try and inspire and to create a wave of people. In terms of the World Championships, yeah, so I'm a little bit sore because on the weekend I competed in the World Plogging Championships. It's a group of people in Italy set it up last year. That was the first one last year. So I took part. I came second. So it was 7 hours of brutal treasure hunting, or trash hunting, whatever you want to call it. And I think I'm guesstimating I got around 100 kilos. So it was a pretty spectacular game altogether. The 70 competitors did over 1,100 kilograms of trash.
Wow.
Cool.
Wow, that's amazing. 1,700 kilograms of trash. That's crazy.
1,100.
1,100. And how long was that event for you?
Yeah, so it was a 7-hour event. So you start off, and it's all tactical. It's a really spectacular event. So you've got 7 hours, and you can go wherever you like. So they've got a boundary, and you can sort of it's up to you. You don't know the area, so you've got to hunt trash. You get points for the type of trash you get. So you'll get some points, more points for instance, aluminium that has a larger CO2 footprint. So the type of trash will give you certain points. The amount of distance that you cover will get you certain points, and the vertical ascent. So I did around just over 30 kilometers of running, and it was only around 450 meters or something, but some people did 50 kilometers and they did less trash. So it's a very strategic race. It's fantastic, but it's a great event.
Wow, that's awesome. And I think it's really special, the panelists we have here, because we have a good mix of people who are, leading large organizations, but then also, on the ground doing amazing work, doing the actual cleanups. Heidi, can you talk a little bit about what it's like running Let's Do It World, and how successful was World Cleanup Day this year for you?
Such a big questions, actually. I think, and we all actually witnessed that the World Cleanup Day was really successful. It has been already going out from our network. We can see on multiple different kind of organizations, other NGOs, movements, cities, communities being part of the World Cleanup Day. And it seems that it's even hard to measure what kind of numbers they have been participating of volunteers, of people around the world. And it's really hard to see what is the impact of the World Cleanup Day, because we see it's so huge already. but we have quite a many countries who have been really big surprises for us. For example, I'm also not working just as a president, but also working as a head of the network. So I'm working each day with some of our leaders in our network, and we have 164 countries and 164 leaders and 164 teams. And some of these are really, really active. So really active is, for example, from Africa, Mozambique, with whom we have been working a lot, and they are working towards a circular economy as much as possible, towards the zero waste, working with the schools. And this year, they engage 1.99 million people, basically 2 million people. And I witness all the success in this country. Basically, each day, this kind of report, what is happening, who is coming, who is not missing the work cleanup day, have been provided by Carlos Serra, our leader there. But also national president was opening the work cleanup day. Multiple different kind of schools have been part. And they led this work cleanup day on Friday with the business sector organizations and also with the schools. And Saturday they continued with the communities. But also it was really interesting. I think not the first time when I actually witnessed it, that the work cleanup day is also engaging this kind of communities where we don't have wars in the world. For example, also in the north part of Mozambique, there is not secure places to have this kind of event, but Carlos said that he doesn't know what's happening, but even in the north part of Mozambique, there is a gatherings and they are doing work cleanup day. Of course, we have Afghanistan always. We had Iraq as well. And yes, in Europe region, we have our biggest team in Ukraine. And last year, they engaged 340,000 people, including the government. And this year, it was 79,000 people. And we, of course, asked also how they actually managed to do it. Quite many made of them a digital cleanup, even in the war zones. But in those zones where it's possible to gather, they had really small teams, and they didn't report it on the map because it was secured. It was secure in this way.
Wow.
But also, Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan had this kind of huge conflict with the victims, and they didn't make any cleanup because it was banned by their national president. But on Wednesday, they said that in this Saturday, Kyrgyzstan is doing their work cleanup day. And last year, they engaged 680,000 people with the national president. So
Wow.
it's giving me a thought, which is really important in the sense that the work cleanup day or any kind of big groups engagement is not just about the waste, but in these desperate times where we are living, where we have so much of different kind of conflicts in the world, and we are living in the world or times where we don't know what happens next. It gives the people this kind of hope to come together and doing something good for the good. And I see that it's really important to the humanity in those days to feel that I made something for the nature. I made something to my country. I made something to myself, and I was bonded with other people and with a purpose and with myself as well. So we have a lot of stories about that, but I'm just simply saying that maybe this kind of actions, what we are doing, are transforming a bit into another purposes. It's giving the hope to the people. So yes, this is about the work cleanup. But how to lead this organization, it is really inspirational, and it gives you an understanding what the world looked like, because I have been working with our network already 7 years, and you can witness huge transformation, not just within you in the world, in this team, in these leaders, but also witnessing that some of these environmental organizations in national level have been becoming the biggest environmental organization in their countries, and how they actually are not just tackling their waste problems by going to the cleanup, but also working beyond the work cleanup day with the governments towards the circular economy, towards the green initiatives. And this is exactly this kind of transformation in societies we are looking through the work cleanup day, because it's work as a catalyzer, a cross-sectoral cooperation, and making a social shift in society. This is what is the main essence of the World Cleanup Day.
Wow, that's
Exactly.
amazing. And I think those stories that are coming out of Ukraine and these other countries where doing cleanups is extremely difficult, I think that's really inspiring how even in the worst of conditions, people are still coming together for their environment and for their country, and as you said, for themselves as well. I think that's amazing. Bill and Steve, I kind of want to jump over to you and talk about, as country leaders for the United States, what was it like for celebrate the World Cleanup Day here?
It was really good. We are currently still working on the numbers. We're estimating about 1.2 million, a little bit under that right now. I think it might go a little bit higher than that.
Probably 1.4 million is what we're.
Might be 1.4 million. The numbers still keep coming in. But we did a cleanup event here in San Diego in association with Keep America Beautiful. I Love Clean San Diego and a number of other organizations, Coastal Cleanup for the state of California. In California, there was over 1,000 cleanups that were done just in the state.
Those are reported cleanups.
Yeah, those are reported cleanups.
One of the things Steve doesn't mention is that we don't know a lot of stuff's going on until later on, because a lot of our social media people will take pictures, and then we find out later that we get like what we thought we would have like 50,000, we have 150,000, and it comes in
Dribs and drabs
over a period of time. So when we really won't know, this is going to sound funny, we really won't know for another 3 months exactly what, or pretty close to what is going on. A lot of cities will have cleanups that we don't even know about. And we'll pick them up and we'll find out that the whole city suddenly had a huge cleanup. And again, it's an amazing thing when you get a city that suddenly says, we're going to clean our city up. It's a civic pride, and people get together, and it is really wonderful to watch. It's under the umbrella of World Cleanup Day, National Cleanup Day, and whatever the city is doing.
Right.
And so it really becomes rather impressive. And what we've learned is that people, once they've cleaned up their area, they kind of want to keep it that way.
And so one other thing on that we're working on for next year that we started
We're always working on
this
something.
year. Yeah, we're always working on something. But one of the things that we started this year was certain sites that sign up well beforehand. So this year we had the permanent sites. Yes, exactly. The same address, same location for them to start out at. And one of them was Brooklyn Bridge in New York City.
It's not the Brooklyn Bridge itself.
Yes, it's not the bridge.
It's the
park.
To the Brooklyn Bridge.
To be precise, the Brooklyn Bridge Park Conservancy.
There you go.
And then another one that we did was in Santa Monica, Los Angeles, for Heal the Bay. And they're committing to doing the same cleanup site for the Santa Monica Pier area. And they'll be doing that both for National Cleanup Day, World Cleanup Day, but also for Earth Day.
But we also have what's really cool, groups like Keep America Beautiful. We have large corporations like Pink who go out in their colleges and clean things up.
Yeah, we had a lot of those.
So what's really fun to watch is that we started this about 8 years ago, and we really had no idea what we were doing. We really didn't.
Exactly.
And it has snowballed, and we go on national television to tell people what we do. It is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger each year. And Steve used to have a trick. We would go to a show or something, and he'd say, "Oh, what did you do for National Cleanup Day?" And a lot of people would, in the beginning, would go, "What?" And now they said, "Oh, well, we did this, this, and this."
Yeah, we get a lot of those. And one other site to mention that's committed is Bozeman, Montana.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Literally.
So there's a business called Wealth Vest along with the Gallatin Valley Land Trust. This is actually how it brings the community together.
Right. And when we say Bozeman, Montana, I lived in Montana. Bozeman, Montana is, when people say in the middle of nowhere, they are not kidding. That is in the middle of nowhere.
However, it's right next to Yellowstone National Park.
Exactly. And the people there really care about their
really do.
Wow.
So, and we're getting this in every place, and we'll get things afterwards saying, by the way, we cleaned up this for National Cleanup. We're going, or we did this for World Cleanup. Then we're going, why didn't you tell us before? We
Yeah.
could have helped you, you know?
Exactly. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, that's amazing, and I think it's really cool how communities will join together to protect their environment. Alexandra, I wanted to, come back to you and talk a little bit about. I know you live out in the Canary Islands, and I see how you bring your community together. What was World Cleanup Day like for you this year?
Well, World Cleanup Day for me started a few months before, because I was trying to repeat an initiative that I got last year, that was to build a community with all the local organizations that I know from each of the 8 islands. So this June, I was emailing and message everyone to ask them if they were going to participate in this year World Cleanup Day, and to ask them about where the place was going to have the cleanup. I think I don't know the specific numbers, but almost 20 organizations this year joined my initiatives, and we make a big sign with all the islands and each of the organizations that take part this year. And some stories that I want to launch, that some stories are in the smallest island take place the biggest cleanup, because a lot of organizations go there and clean up the entire island. I don't manage the exact number of kilos of trash that they take, but that was so much. And other number that I can give you or share with you is that the cleanup that I organize in the south part of my island, Gran Canaria, we take out 900 of trash from the coast.
Wow.
And also in La Palma, I don't know if you know that island, because last year a volcano erupted there. An organization eliminate from the south part of the island 11,000 of trash, because all the trash that came to that part came from the ocean. A lot of wood, a lot of plastics, big plastics, and a lot of trash. I'm the video that summarizes all the cleanups that we've been through. So when I have it, I will share with you guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I find it interesting how, the more often you do cleanups, the more you realize there's some few pieces of plastic that you see everywhere, but depending on where you're at, a lot of it does change, especially if you're on the coast.
Yeah.
Now, Henry, I know you just moved from Boston to Barcelona. Can you talk a little bit about the differences between the two cities in picking up trash?
Sure. Yeah, and I moved to Valencia, not Barcelona, but
Valencia. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Spain.
Spain. Yeah. There is a big difference in the types of trash and the amount of trash here. I've actually noticed that here in Valencia, there's a lot less trash and litter on the streets than there is in Boston. And I've seen, I think there are more city programs where there are people. I see a lot of like street sweepers and people cleaning up trash who work for the city, and that's very cool to see. So there's definitely a lot less trash here than in Boston, but also there's a lot of the trash that I see. It is similar. Like I found a lot of cigarette butts, a lot of like the packages for the cigarettes, and then like bottles and cans and food containers. And I was interested to see what the differences are, and a lot of it is the same. It's the single-use plastics. It's the things that you use once and then you throw it away and you don't think about it.
Yeah,
that's most of the trash that I find.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. You bring that up. I feel like cigarette butts are kind of a key thing you see everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, something else I wanted to ask you was, I know on TikTok you have a campaign right now trying to hit 500,000 of pieces of trash between you and your followers.
Yeah.
What's that journey been like, and how is that going?
Yeah, it's going good. Well, it started my trash pickup journey started with me just giving myself a goal of cleaning up 5,000 pieces of trash. I was like, I'm gonna go out every day and I'm gonna clean up trash. And I'm gonna show people that it's not that hard to go out and clean up trash, and it's easy to take steps to help out your environment. And then once I reached that goal, I made 50,000 pieces. And every day I would go out and I clean up trash till I hit 50,000. And then once I hit that number, I wanted to make it less of a challenge with me and more of a thing where I can interact with people all around the world. And I wanted to get more people involved and get other people out there cleaning up trash. And I don't know. And I get comments every day of people being like, you inspired me to clean up trash from here in South Africa, or here in Georgia, or here in all around the world. And it's really inspiring to me to get that feedback from people saying that I helped them start their trash cleanup journey. Yeah.
Hey Henry, how often do you get people that say thank you when you're out doing a trash cleanup, either in Boston or Valencia?
Almost never.
Really?
Almost never. I get a lot of people will walk past me and give me like a weird look, and most people just completely ignore me.
Maybe it's
really
San Diego.
So one of the things that I've seen is on hiking trails, people will say thank you a lot. And that's, of course, where we got started originally, was hiking trails. But I find that to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think anybody think there's anything that can be done to get more people to pat Henry on the back as he's doing things? Because that's actually really important. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to really. So I always sort of tell people the thing you need to do is really be seen doing it. So just go crazy. The more crazy you go. Sometimes I run in a banana suit. Just people. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it's hanging up over there. So I'll run in a banana suit, and when I go and do a group plug, I play disco music, and I sort of call it disco plogging. And the intent of that is for people to look at me, not to say, look how cool I am, but to say, look what I'm doing. And so the more outrageous you make it, the more chances that someone will stick in their mind. They go and they'll perhaps chat over a meal at night and say, I saw this weirdo in a banana suit and he was doing the craziest thing, he was picking up trash.
I can see Henry's ears working.
By the way, Paul, that's the battle cry of National Cleanup Day. Is if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. I like that banana suit idea.
Banana suit is cool.
But I'm not going to put Bill in one.
The steel have to do it. But anyways, we make it fun. We don't even get mad at people who litter anymore. We have a term for them. You know what the term is? We call them illiterates.
Nice.
So we don't get mad at them. We and Steve, who used to yell at people,
he used to yell and scream at people.
And then Steve started doing what? What was the cute thing you did?
I'd go up and ask people if I saw them litter.
They drop something.
Hey, can I pick that up and take it down for you? Did you want to do that yourself?
And they just what?
Almost all the time, once or twice.
I remember one.
I only remember one offhand, but they're like, "Yeah, can you take that down for me?"
Yeah.
But people actually really appreciate it. And
well, Paul's got
to know what you're doing.
He understands the battle cry. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Yeah,
exactly.
And people won't do it. The problem is a lot of people think of this as a job, trudging, dirty. But have you ever watched kids go out and clean a park? They'll just vacuum up the whole park and have fun. It's like an
really
Easter egg
fun.
hunt.
Yeah.
So you got to have fun. If you're having fun, you'll do it again and again. If you make it non-fun, you're not going to do it more than once.
I think that's really key. And Paul, I wanted to ask you something. I saw on Instagram that you got a really awesome new tattoo.
Oh, see the two.
I don't know. Where are we going? There we go. Yeah, there we go. I'm only good at 3 things in life. So I've actually put it on an Excel spreadsheet, and I suck at 94.7% in life. But there's 3. I've got statistics to prove it. But there are 3 things that I'm I'm really good at. I think I am, and that's plogging, that's running long, so ultra distances, and also being vegan. So why not be and I actually designed it so I could sort of cross my arms like this and
There you
keep
go.
or picking up trash. So I've actually got it so that you pick up trash and then it's a nice photo opportunity. Everything for the Insta.
Well, Steve would have to have annoying on his. Being
Yeah,
annoying.
that's me.
I'm going to get Trash Boy tomorrow.
There you
There
go.
you go. See?
Paul, I'm curious. So you talk a lot about veganism. Do you see an intersection between pollution and the diet?
So, that's yeah. There's so much research that is like talking about how veganism is, or sort of how cutting down on meat products is great for the environment, and I fully support that. But there is always a bit of a battle if you're vegan about, okay, if you're not going to take these animal products, you're probably going to take something that's synthetic. So, and you get a lot of these meat replacement ones as well in plastic packaging and things. So I fully support everyone that tries to sort of reduce their meat content. For me, it works perfectly. I can run 4,000 kilometers a year because I'm vegan. It really makes a difference on my own body. But there is always a battle because, okay, if I can't have wool, then I've got to have a synthetic fiber for my clothes. So there is a bit of a battle you need to be conscious of. And the way I get around that is I ensure that everything is used, or I try and find alternatives. So this is a plastic-free t-shirt. So I will sort of try and sort of be conscious of what I'm doing.
Wow, I think that's awesome how you're integrating this into different parts of your life.
Yeah.
Heidi, I kind of wanted to switch it over to you. And I was talking with some of your team at Let's Do It World, and post World Cleanup Day, I heard that you guys released an NFT for those who participated. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, indeed. Our two artists in Estonia actually made this NFT, especially for their World Cleanup Day. It's collectible. It means that we have one really great this kind of design for 1 year, and then for the next World Cleanup Day have another one, so we can collect those. It's sort of like a great opportunity to say thank you to all the great participants. Also, we don't have them so much. We have like a 100,000, this kind of pieces to collect and give to 100,000 people. It is little bit limited. I think it's a absolutely great way to go forward. Also, I think it's really great for the marketing, and also to be visible and to understand why we are doing in the worldwide level, what it is the World Cleanup Day, and it's simply really great way to grab a simple this kind of attention also from the people.
Wow, that's really cool. I think what's awesome about it is that there's so many different ways to get people involved, and to continue that momentum moving forward. What's awesome about cleanups is that, as you all know, it's one of the easiest ways to get involved with the environmental movement.
Yes, indeed. I think everything starts from the cleanups, or actually we can say everything starts from the awareness. And the cleanup is one of really great opportunity where we can engage the people from different kind of sectors, or even if they are young or they are more adults. It's really important that they can learn from our activities, because usually people are not so eager to learn if they are just reading something. Sometimes we are learning when we are getting inspired, but the best way to learn is going to the action and understand what we are doing. And that's why we are talking about 5% of the engagement. And those countries where we have been able or managed to engage 5% of the population, we can see really big social shift and change, which is why we are doing it, because the cleanup itself is not a solution, but if the people will change the habits, especially not overconsume so much, and do know, for example, that we have to segregate and we have to compost, and we don't have to use so much of different kind of goods. But also to find the ways how we can survive in communities, how we can demand this kind of collaborations with the city governments, and to find the solutions for the waste which is around us. Then we need this kind of awareness, and it's coming simply by the cleanup. So it's really great way that we all are doing it, and it's so important. Thank you.
Yeah, and I kind of want to throw it over to Bill and Steve. Where do you think that connection is between that first step of, you know, someone who goes out and cleans up their community, and then also continuing that within their life, and making more sustainable changes?
It's funny. I'm the marketing guy. Steve's the sales guy, so he's the poopy head. But
Something
anyways,
like that.
when we started looking at this, we started with clean trails, and then we went to National Cleanup Day, and then to World Cleanup Day. And we found that working with Earth Day, there's a lot of people have great goals, like, you know, save, you know, the trees, save the, but a lot of people sitting in their living room saying, how am I going to do that? I can't save
What
a
can I
whale.
do for the environment?
Yeah, how can I save a whale? I mean, you know, I'd give it a hug. So what you have to do is,
Where you can hug a tree, but you can't hug a whale?
no, because it's hard to catch up to.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways,
They're bigger too.
they're bigger, and they can bite.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the whole trick with this is give something people a way to become an activist. And Heidi said it right. It's awareness first, then wanting to do something, then making that something that they can do an easy step. Nothing difficult, something they can do. And we have a saying, what would the world be like if everyone picked up one piece of litter? And once they do that, it's not a fact that you're pointing out everybody else littering. It's that when you look at garbage heaps where people keep dumping stuff, they wouldn't have done it unless there was a piece of garbage there to begin with, or litter there to begin with. So if you pull that out of the way, that gives people a clear idea of what to do. And then the next step, they're saying, well, I've done this. What's step number 2?
Yes, exactly. And that may be helping out on a trail. It may be helping support a local land conservancy.
Signing the plastic petition. In fact,
Right.
And learning about it. So the whole idea, we don't do the teaching. We just do the first step. So we're basically kindergarten.
Kind of the beginning level.
We're kindergarten.
Yes.
Yeah, but we get people
It's
on
so
the path.
simple and easy.
Well, that's simple.
Yes.
You know. So we get them on the path, and we know that once you open the door and the information comes in, it's no closing the door anymore.
Right. And one other thing too, there was a study that was done by Keep America Beautiful, I believe about 1.5 years ago, that got released during the pandemic.
Escaped.
And the result of the study was that in the United States, there's roughly 152 pieces of litter per person in the United States.
That's
so
all the way from babyhood all the way to adulthood.
Yes.
To my age.
So instead of having this massive unmanageable problem of billions and billions of pieces of litter, they brought it down to a concept called 152 and you. So if 152 pieces of litter were picked up by every person in the United States.
Babies are hard to pick it up, though.
Yes. But they would actually solve the problem.
Exactly.
So it's actually a solvable problem if we just all put ourselves together.
Wow.
That was easy.
Have we ever been together?
No, probably not.
Wow. Well, thank you for answering that. I like, you know, Bill, you talk about being a marketing guy, and I think bringing it down to these bite-sized pieces of this is how we can actually solve this issue. I'm going to throw it over to Alexandra, and I know you've studied marine science. Where's the connection between, you know, doing these cleanups that anyone can join, but then bringing it to a higher level of, you know, a more scientific level and finding more long-term solutions?
That's the point of view that I choose to organize my monthly cleanups in my area. Because of my marine science background, all the information that I learned at the university makes me realize that we have a really huge problem about all the impact that we as humans get for the planet. So at every cleanup, new people go there, and I try to use that reunion as an opportunity to share with them some information that maybe they didn't have the resources to learn it about the climate change, mostly about that, or how is that plastic coming from the ocean, where it's started, where what company built up, and all the longevity of every trash piece that we found. So it's not just a cleanup, a regularly cleanup the things that I made, because I think that information is power to the people. So the more you learn, the more you know, the more you can change your daily routine and know how to replace the bad things that are harming the world, and to fight for a better future, mostly. So always with the science background in my daily activities and choices.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that's awesome. I want to bring it over to Henry. Who can you expand a little bit more on how would you use TikTok and your platform to continue to keep the movement going forward, and not just doing cleanups, but also bringing it to these other aspects of life?
That is a really good question, and that's kind of the issue lately. How do we keep this going? Because sometimes, like, World Cleanup Day, it happened, and now it was last month, and now how do we keep the momentum going? For me, the way I keep myself motivated is just like it's never about how many pieces you clean up or how big this is or how much things. Like it's more qualitative than quantitative. I think I got I try to just, as long as we're actively doing something every day, like that's helping. Like we're doing the best that we can with what we have, and that's kind of the message I try to put across. Like even if you I don't expect everyone to go out and clean up a full bag of trash, because they have work, they have to take care of their kids or whatever. Like everyone has their own things that they do, but it's those little impacts that if all of us can start implementing them into our daily routine, like they really add up the more people are involved. So
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. Heidi, I wanted to ask you, because since you run such a large organization, and you brought up earlier the circular economy, if we can continue getting people and individuals changing their behaviors, as Henry and Alexandra have brought up, where is the connection between smaller movements like that and creating large scale change at industrial levels?
Mm-hmm. I think each work what we are doing, no matter how big or small scale, is extremely important, because nowadays everything and each action does have its own value. And everybody are working in this way, that we want to have the change in individual level. And this is one part with what maybe the society, inside the society, we can work with the best way. It's not the government, which is of course doing a work of awareness, but mainly by inspiring people and bringing them into common action is really easy way to change people's behavior. So, and we are doing it actually each day, and we have to do it each day. We also engaging and inspiring big organizations and corporates, but also different kind of public sector organizations and governments to be part of this kind of actions. And through that actually is raising the awareness as well. And we are nudging the governments maybe to push forward toward this kind of circular economy, and to establish this kind of legislations and framework in order to adapt it in its societies. But I think the circular economy question is really big, and it's not so easy to tackle, because if some countries just have really great this kind of solution for the circular economy, which means also treating this plastic and waste collection really well in their borders, then definitely there is a countries who are not doing it so well for many different kind of reasons. And it means at the end of the day, the world is still facing huge pollutions, and it's really hard to handle if we are doing in few countries or in half of the countries in the world or whatsoever. We have to tackle this kind of issue of the plastic and the waste in really this kind of holistical way by coming, because this equation is like a chemical equation with so many different kind of changing parts, and some of the parts we even don't know. But we have to work on that in collaborative way, in national level, but also definitely on the global level as well. And as I said, really important from this equation is exactly the work, what we are doing, because we are working with their communities, but also nudging different parts of the society. I don't know if I'm answered to your question. I hope I did.
No, I think what you said about connecting the different levels, and every change is important. Bill and Steve, I know you guys work with many different corporations as sponsors. Do you think corporations are doing a good job at trying to step up and solve these issues?
I believe a lot of them are. They're trying. It really involves a lot of different things. Obviously, profit motive is extremely important for businesses. Both Bill and I have been business owners in the past, and so we understand that. But there's definitely an increasing focus on taking action as opposed to just creating some kind of a thought process.
We also learned something. We thought when we first started this, it would be the big corporations telling their little subsidiaries what to do. But what we found is more like the little subsidiaries want to get together and use this as team building.
Yes.
And this is really important.
And a lot of times that goes back up to the main corporation.
Yeah, we learned that. So we started doing just small groups, and the big corporation would find out this was going on, going, wow, this is a great idea. And like with Apple, we couldn't go to Apple, but we could go to the various little stores. And
usually they came to us.
Actually. They came to us, but well, we actually went to some of them too.
Yeah, that too.
But it's a team building effort. And one of the greatest things that people don't know is that we found this when we first started, that small or medium-sized corporations, it was a great way for their employees to get together and feel good about themselves, feel good about the company, and about good of what they're doing for the earth. And we don't preach. We don't say, you can't do this, you don't do that. We found out that with our thing is, again, we are the baby step. Once you start working, people start understanding what they need to do at their level of what they want to do. And being a massive libertarian that I am, I think people should do whatever they want to do. And once they've found the way, that's the best thing. And we leave the education to
bigger education,
to bigger groups, that how to educate people. We just point out where they are. And
ultimately, though, it's in the best interest of that company to engage with that corporation, to engage with their customers. And one of the ways that they can engage with customers is through cleanups or through other zero waste or circular economy
or even
ideas.
Like that huge insurance company we have that works with them. They have all their little subsidiary groups actually competing.
Right.
And it's really cool because it's a
they go out and have fun.
They go out and have fun. And again, I'm going to point out, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. But it's the whole idea that once people, as you say, the corporations themselves are
Bill, Steve? Wow. Looks like they broke up for a sec, so hopefully they connect back. But I guess to add on what they say, I think it's really really illustrating how even at the corporate level, these movements are more grassroots, and they start off at the small stores, and then eventually they go up to leadership, and then actual corporate and the CEOs. So that's really, I think that's really telling of how this whole movement really works.
I can add here as well, if I may. During
Yes,
the
absolutely.
cleanup, I can see it's a corporates who are in global level and working in each region who are, for example, taking part of the work cleanup day. We have such organizations as well, and they're competing in different kind of regions or competing in different kind of countries and inside the country as well. But the main reason why they are doing it is just to do it for the team building, for loyalty, as this kind of team and motivational, this kind of coming together and have these cleanups. But also there is also some kind of training sometimes. For example, what is a 5 hours, or what type of different kind of waste we are collecting, and how we can go to the green offices and so on. And also using the creativity of the people who want to be part of it. So it's really great way to engage, but also nudge them into understanding that maybe sometimes there is also organizations who are contributing into this kind of packaging what we are collecting, and maybe it's during the work cleanup day. So maybe it's also nudging them to think what kind of innovations they could have in the organizations in order to not to have so much waste in the world.
Wow. Paul, I wanted to ask you a question that kind of goes along with this. I'm just curious of how you think, as someone who, plogs often and, cleans up a lot of this trash, do you think these corporations that, create, as Heidi was explaining, create a lot of the waste that, you are out there picking up on the ground, how do you think they should be involved in solving the solution?
So basically you're giving me the political question. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to answer that. But first of all, I want to pull back to the question that Bill and Steve had about the 152 pieces, about the 500,000 pieces as well. So, and it ties in with the corporations and what Heidi and Alexandra as well are experiencing. I had a similar sort of expression, which was, it's okay for one person to pick up 1,000 pieces of trash. That's great. That's fantastic. But what I would rather have is 1,000 people picking up one piece of trash. And I was asked for World Cleanup Day to give just sort of like a little motivational video, just a few seconds to a company. And I said that. I said about the 1,000 pieces, and they took that, and that became their target. Though the company was only 500 people, but they wanted to get 1,000 people involved in that. And so they actually took that and sort of went with it. And so, those ideas, those simple little actions about let's just pick up one piece, that really works, and it builds up that community within the organization and within the businesses. And I thought that was a beautiful example of how we can inspire others and sort of just take those simple actions of picking up one piece and sort of make it grow. So I just wanted to sort of say I thought that was a really nice thing. Now I'll answer the elephant in the room. Thank you so much for that. There are some brands out there that I will not name that I pick up is more than half of my pickups. They are the popular brands that everyone knows. You'll see them in the high streets. And what I'd love to see them do is using this as a means to increasing their profit. They are a profit-based company, and I don't want them to lose their profits. I have nothing against that, but I'd like them. They've spent hundreds of millions of billions of dollars on marketing. I'm sure those clever bots can come up with one way to actually inspire advertising to promote behavioral change in their consumers. So that's what I think that's what they should do. And we can't solve this problem as an individual, as an NGO, or as a collective of people. The only way that we can solve this is if the governments, the businesses, and the people work together in harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Paul, like that. That was great. Very well stated.
Thank you very much.
Actually,
my work here is done.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, the funny thing is, one group started like that called Keep America Beautiful. It started to protect themselves, and it ended up, and people would put that down, but it ended up doing the exact same thing that you're asking. The corporations got together saying, this is really bad PR.
Right.
So they created Keep America Beautiful, and it is actually working to clean up the mess that they make. So,
right. One other example of that's kind of an interesting one that participated in our first cleanup day, and that's Amarillo, Texas. And the city of Amarillo, Texas, which has, I believe, about 300,000 people in the metro area.
Gun-toting people.
They actually had a person who took a personal interest in doing cleanups. One man found out that he could do something, and that was simply talking to the mayor, talking to his council person, talking to the local people.
TV stations.
And they participated in the first National Cleanup Day. The first one, they did one cleanup in one area in association with the city, in association with Waste Management, I believe, and some other organizations. And that's turned into an annual citywide cleanup, both for Earth Day and for National Cleanup Day or World Cleanup Day.
And we didn't even know about it until a year and a half after.
It took about a year and a half for us to actually find out they did it. But it was fantastic. So, when people go out as Paul, Alexandra, and Henry have done and do things individually, that's actually the way to take action, with the city with your community.
The funny thing is, real quick, that's how we started with Clean Trails. Steve and I would hike trails and solve all the world's problems.
It was really easy.
No one listened to us. Yeah. But we would go and pick up. We made a game out of picking up, and people would want to join us. So we Tom Sawyered, or in other words, we tricked people into joining us because we were having a good time. And that's actually how the whole thing started with us. So,
right. And that's correct. That's true in a lot of communities. I only point out the Amarillo community because we saw the formation of it directly.
Yeah.
And
we didn't know about it.
We didn't know about it. So it was really interesting when we talked to them, they told us the story. It really started with one person taking action. And
after the second year, it went beyond him. I mean, the whole city jumped in.
Right.
Wow. And I think that's an interesting way this conversation has gone, coming from, doing these grassroots movements all the way up to how to get everyone involved. And unfortunately, I'm looking at the time right now. It looks like we're kind of coming up on the hour. So I want to do a rapid fire question with each of you guys to kind of close off the show. Oftentimes, if you watch the news, you just hear about how bad the environment is getting and hear about climate change and how nothing is being done.
We're all going to die.
And we're all going to die. But we are the ones who are out there and putting in the work. So my question for each of you is, and Bill and Steve, I'm going to start with you guys. Are you hopeful for the future? Do you think we can solve this issue?
Yes.
Definitely. One of the things that we have seen at the site that we actually personally clean up on for World Cleanup Day is a fairly dramatic reduction in the amount of litter that's collected. I'd say it's gone down by 75%, maybe
and
80%.
We've had a lot of reports. That's what people are seeing. They're saying it. This is going to be something funny. It's harder to find the trash.
Isn't that good?
Yeah,
isn't that great? Thanks, Michael.
Henry, you're out there every day in the streets of Boston and Valencia. Are you hopeful for the future?
I am hopeful for the future, and actually, I've come into that same problem where it's here in Valencia. It's harder for me to go out and find trash, and I'll have to walk a little farther and go a little farther, and I don't find as much trash, and that's great. But also, I see so many young people and kids commenting on my videos saying or their parents being like, my 7-year-old son and I, we did a cleanup and they love cleaning up the environment, and stories like that of the younger generation who are at that age being environmentally friendly and doing things that really gives me hope for the future. So yes, hopeful.
That's awesome. Paul, you're out every single day running, picking up trash everywhere you go. Are you hopeful for the future?
I will give an example. So I was plogging last week, and there were 2 men around my age that saw me sort of coming towards them, and I was picking up trash, and they turned away like this. They just looked down. They were just embarrassed to make contact with me. About 2 meters later, a young boy, maybe 11 years old, cycled past me and he said, "Well done, sir. You're doing a great job." Am I hopeful? He gives me hope.
That's awesome. Alexandra, are you hopeful for the future?
I'm hopeful for the future because apart that we have the ocean currents here at the Canary Islands against us because a lot of press comes from the ocean. At each cleanup that I organize of the local organizations that I know take part, new people is getting to know about the pollution problem and taking action. So in a few years, I think here at the Canary Islands, we're going to get a huge solutions with all the trust that we are found actually.
Awesome.
Wow, that's awesome. Heidi, you're the leader of one of the world's largest organizations dealing with cleanups. You see it firsthand. Are you hopeful for the future?
I'm hopeful if there are the preconditions. If we are continuing our really great work, what we are doing, and growing, and if we are building up stronger alliances with this kind of organizations, as we all are, not working in silos, also working with each other, because we have common aim, common planet. If this kind of organizations like Alliance to End the Plastic Waste is really great, big corporates, what is not named here, investing not into low-hanging fruit, which is coming to the cleanup with the low cost, but instead of that, investing into investments and trying to find the ways of being really innovative regarding the packaging system and circular economy. And if the governments are not fighting with each other and there is not so much of wars and there are a little bit less and even more less egos in the world and more this kind of gratitude toward nature and understandings toward it and eager to serve the humanity, then I'm really hopeful. And I am hopeful because we are continuing our work, right?
Wow. Yes, absolutely. Well, that's going to wrap up this day's Earth Day Live. Thank you so much for everyone and coming to join us.
Hey, wait, Michael.
Yes.
Real quick.
Yes.
When is Earth Day's cleanup?
On Earth Day, April 22nd.
Actually, it's the entire month of April. And then when is the next World Cleanup Day? Heidi?
I believe it's the third Saturday of September.
That's
exactly.
Right.
All right.
Marketing, sales.
Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you so much also for the team at EarthDay.org for helping put this together. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice to meet you all.
Bye.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.